Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Tony Finn and Rob Vino of WagerTalk.com. We're talking some Pac-12 college football here. USC Trojans at the Arizona State Sun Devils here, Robbie. We're seeing Arizona State -8 at home, 58.5 being the total. What are you liking in Tempe on Saturday, Robbie Vino?
Well, I don't think you're liking the current form of either one of these two teams, right? I mean, at USC, interim head coach takes over. They go to Pullman, Washington. They get a big win. But since then, I believe they're 1-3. They haven't really done much on the defensive side of the ball, especially. And for Arizona State, you come off a bye week last week, and the Pac-12 South Division for grabs, and you welcome in Washington State, a team that is down about 4 guys on their coaching staff after the firing of Nick Rolovich and a few others. Washington State plays lousy the first time under the new coaching staff. Come into Tempe and stampede the Arizona State Sun Devils last. ASU loses the turnover battle 5-1 in that game, Drew, and that'll cost you every single time. They got behind big early, couldn't really come back. Interesting that they allowed Washington State to run for 166 yards on them. I don't think his Washington State teams had 166 yards a season rushing, but they ran it, they threw it, they did whatever they wanted to. I usually go by a handicapping angle where if a good team is at home weeks in a row and they blow the game the week before straight up, that they'll usually come back in front of the home crowd and play well. So I think Arizona State situationally is in a better spot than USC, which appears to kind of be playing out the string. The major issue here for Arizona State, and their defense has not been good, guys. 3 of the last 4 games, just not been good. Not what it was, prepped up to be. And they've given up 268 yards a game through the air. If you include the Stanford game, which goes 4 games back, that's average 268 yards. Generally, you would say that's bad news against an air raid offensive like USC's, but USC probably suffered one of the most devastating injuries to an offense last week when Drake London went out for the season, their top wide receiver. He's going to have ankle surgery, I think it is, and he won't be involved in this game. Let me just put into context what Drake London has meant to the USC offense this year. Guy's got 88 catches on the season. That's over 40% of the entire team's catches. He's got 1,084 receiving yards. That's over 43% of all receiving yards. One guy. He's got 7 TDs receiving. That's 41% of all their receiving touchdowns. And he averages 135.5 receiving yards a game. That's 57% of all passing yards go to him every single game. He's gone now. Next closest guy on the team after his 88 catches, I think, has 33. That's severe, and it's really severe when you're under an interim head coach and your team is sinking like a ship real fast. And I just don't know how interested USC is in the rest of the season now that the majority of their preseason expectations are gone. So a lot of reasons there to like ASU. In this particular game, USC is going to have to depend on their running game now. And the running game is only accounted for 31% of their yards all season long. So certainly that's a weakness that they're going to have to turn into a strength. And if you're the opponent, USC faces some challenges here. No longer do you have to cover. If you're the opposing defense, you don't have to slide any coverage toward Drake London. You don't have to double cover Drake London. You can single cover whatever's left and maybe throw an extra guy up at the line of scrimmage to stop the run. So USC's got a bunch of challenges to face here on offense. Defense hasn't been any good for about 5 weeks now. I would expect Herm Edwards, after what he saw last week, to, in practice this week, be giving his team a pretty good talking to. I think they'll come out quick. I think USC will have to take some time to adjust to life without Drake London, which makes the first half real attractive here. Arizona State's only laying 4.5 points in the first half. They should be ahead by a touchdown at least in this game. Motivationally, situationally, fundamentally, everything I can put together here leads me to Arizona State first half -4.5. They probably cover the game too, but I prefer first half because I think they'll come out with a little bit of intensity off of last week's, miserable showing.
Sure. Good stuff there, Robbie Vino. Tony, coming to you next. To Robbie Vino's first point of both teams have not been playing good football of late. USC losing 2 of 3, not covering in 3 straight. Arizona State dropping 2 straight, both against the spread and straight up here, Tony. Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. You don't play to cover. Can they cover the 8.5 here, Tony?
Yes, they can. Rob really spelled it out pretty well. I will say this in short, and that is what you saw or what you've seen in the Pac-12 this year is what you get. You have a bunch of coaches that are okay coaches. I like Herm Edwards. I think Arizona State wins this game this weekend, not on their quarterback, not on their talent, not on the ridiculousness of the undisciplined USC team, because this is a talented team, Drew. Rob knows it. This is a team with more 5 stars than anyone else in the Pac-12. And as many as other teams, more than other teams that just would put them to shame on the football field because they're broken. This USC team is broken, and whoever takes this job needs to go ahead and put an announcement out right now that says, listen, guys, there's a transfer portal. No penalties, no hard feelings. But when I come in, I'm going to do with you what I do with a car that's broken. And it's not, they're going to tear it completely down and remake it. It's the only way you can go about a team that does what they did last weekend against Notre Dame, where, listen, they went into Notre Dame and Notre Dame dominated their defensive line. However, USC had more yards. They did what they always do. He mentioned London. I mean, London had 170 yards receiving. The running game, 150 something yards from the top back. And even the quarterback, even USC's quarterback play was good. But for every 4 plays that they do that are outstanding, there's one play that is death to them in a game. It's just what they do. They had 4 or 5 sacks. They had one play after another. 1, 2, 3 big plays that destroy them. Arizona State's going to win this game, like I said, on who Herm Edwards is. Both of these teams are done. They're not going to be in any Pac-12 title. Rob described it pretty well. It looks like, listen, Washington State might be, if they play the way they played last week, and maybe even a little better under this new coach staff, they might be in the title game. And I think that when they start, Rob, 1-3 or something, it was pretty bad. It was bad. But Herm Edwards, as you said, we play to win the games. This is going to come down to which coaching staff and which players. This game will be who is going to dig deep and say, we're playing for nothing other than pride, and I'm not letting my coach down, who I love, who I like, who's my mentor, and who I'm going to be telling you how much I respect 20 years from now. And that team's Arizona State, minus the 10, 9.5, whatever the number is. Arizona State. And Rob, really, I like it right out of the gate, especially because of USC's issues. They're just so undisciplined, and I just don't think they want to play anymore. They know a new coach is coming in. They're an embarrassment, and I know I'm being exaggerating. I'm ranting, but that's how passionate I am about the Pac-12. I like the Pac-12. It's a mess, and USC is one of the biggest messes on the West Coast orbit, or in the West Coast orbit. Give me Arizona State minus the 10.
He's Tony Finn. He's Forks Up in the Pac-12 After Dark, 10:30 Eastern start here. Enjoy it, guys. The Sun Devils and the Trojans. For Robbie Vino, Tony Finn, I am Drew Martin. Also, make sure to check out WagerTalk.com. $2 Tuesday. On Tuesdays, the top handicappers, top play, discounted to just $2. WagerTalk.com.